Look at yourself honestly. Are you the one who picks up the phone on the first ring, the one who says yes before you even think about yourself, the one who keeps sacrificing so others can stay comfortable? You call that virtue. The world calls it cheap. They treat you like air. Necessary. Maybe. But free. Abundant. And taken for granted. No one feels gratitude for something they can breathe without effort. You are not a priority. You are the default option. The fallback people turn to only after the better choices have rejected them. Machiavelli never taught you how to be good. He taught you how not to be destroyed by hypocrites who smile while sharpening their knives. He understood one brutal truth. People judge far more by appearances than by reality. And here is the part. No one wants to admit the world does not pay for your inner goodness. It pays for your scarcity, for the sense that you are not easy to obtain. What is always available is worthless. What is limited becomes valuable. You are not overlooked because you lack talent. You are overlooked because you priced yourself like a product permanently on the shelf, waiting to be picked up by anyone who passes by. This video is not here to soothe your wounds. If you are looking for comfort, leave now. But if you want to reset the price tag of your life, then listen carefully. I will give you 5 reasons why your absence should become a threat and your presence a privilege. Ruthless truth. Look at those who stand at the top. The most sought-after people are not always the most talented. They are masters of presence. They understand that absence breeds desire and scarcity creates power. They do not present themselves like mass-produced goods. They move like rare assets, hard to access, hard to replace, and never fully owned by anyone. That is what forces others to hesitate, to measure their words, to pay a higher price for proximity. This is the perspective Machiavelli exposed. He was never interested in teaching you how to be virtuous. He stripped the illusion away and revealed a colder truth. Your value in society is not defined by what you quietly possess, but by the leverage you hold in the hands of others. In the marketplace of reality, where people are judged and discarded in a single glance, raising your value has nothing to do with working harder or proving yourself endlessly. It is the discipline of forcing others to accept your terms, instead of allowing them to assign a low price to your life. This is the core of the Machiavellian mindset you and I are stepping into today. You do not need to be flawless to be highly valued. You need control. Control over perception. Control over access. The ability to place limits on your kindness. And the nerve to deliver a blunt message to the world. If you want me, you will pay the price. Reason 1. Value does not come from ability, but from perception. During the Italian Renaissance, genius was common. Courts were crowded with scholars, advisors, and artists. Everyone was intelligent. Everyone was capable. Yet if you look closely at how most of them ended, a disturbing pattern appears. They were drained dry, then discarded, not because they lacked talent, but because they believed a beautiful lie that competence would protect them. Because of that belief, they gave everything, every idea, every plan, every ounce of energy. They held nothing back, no restraint, no defense. One simple thought guided them: if I prove how good I am, I cannot be replaced. That exact belief is what quietly pushed them into weakness. Those who truly held power at court were never the most talented. They were the ones who never revealed everything. They always kept something in reserve, an unrevealed card. an unused skill, a deliberate gap, not to deceive, but to force hesitation, to make rulers pause and ask themselves, what happens if this person is gone? The difference was never intelligence. It was the ability to shape how necessary they felt in that ruthless environment. Machiavelli observed a truth. Most people refuse to swallow people, do not value you for what you possess, but for how it feels to lose you. Not absolute skill, but perceived necessity. Now look at your own situation. You work hard. You go beyond what's asked. You respond immediately. You are always available, always ready. You think you're building value. In reality, you're teaching others how to treat you as disposable. The world does not reward effort. It does not care how hard you try. It reacts only to feeling. And what feeling are you creating? That you are always there, that you are easy to access, that you are not something to protect. Listen carefully. The easier you are to reach, the cheaper you become, the faster you respond, the lighter your presence feels. The more you try to prove your usefulness, the more you invite exploitation. You think people evaluate you by asking, how good is he? They don't. Their thinking is far more brutal. They ask only one question. If this person disappears, do I lose anything? If the answer is not much, your value was decided long ago. This is the most painful part, because it exposes a truth. Many avoid you are not undervalued because you are weak, but because you are too available. You create no tension, no scarcity, no risk in losing you. The modern mistake is believing that total transparency and total giving earn respect. People open every door, expose every thought, give before being asked, then act surprised when they are treated like tools. Machiavelli was never surprised. He understood a cold rule. People do not cherish what is always present. They only value what can disappear. When you are endlessly available, you remove all risk from the relationship, and without risk, there is no value. So stop and ask yourself, slowly, do you make others feel comfortable? Or alert? Comfort means they control you. Alertness means you carry weight. Power does not come from being liked. It comes from being difficult to replace. This is where many go wrong again. They think the solution is to do less, try less, give less. That's not it. The problem is not how much you do, but how you do it and how visible it is. The moment you ask, what more can I do? You place yourself in the role of a servant, waiting to be assigned. It sounds diligent. It makes you lighter almost instantly. Remember, this value does not lie in the total ability you possess, but in the portion others are unsure they will still have access to. When you hold something back, you are not deceiving anyone. You are simply refusing to sell yourself cheaply. If you keep reacting the same way, answering immediately, proving immediately, explaining immediately, nothing will change. You will be busier, less respected, and more trapped. But if you change tempo, slow down, become selective, if your presence stops being guaranteed, something uncomfortable will happen. People start paying attention, because in every interaction, humans seek control. When you are always present, that control is theirs. When you know how to withdraw at the right moment quietly, without explanation, the familiar order begins to shake. No threats, no arguments, just a deliberate absence, allowed to speak for itself. Not everyone deserves full access to you. Not every space warrants your full effort. Maturity begins when you stop giving away for free what should require consideration. Machiavelli did not teach people to be cruel. He taught them to stop being naive. Be competent, but do not expose everything. Give, but always keep enough to force calculation. Make it clear that your presence is not guaranteed. The world does not reward open defenses. It rewards those who understand the rules and dare to apply them. The rules are unfair. They are also real. Remember this: the most valuable person is not the one who does the most, but the one others fear losing. When you learn to withhold, to stay silent, to stop rushing for validation, you force the world to recalibrate how it sees you. From that moment on, you are no longer just someone who gets things done. You become someone who cannot be easily replaced. Reason 2. Scarcity is the language of power. You want to be respected. You want to matter. You want status. You don't want to be treated as a backup option. But if you're honest about how you live, you'll see an uncomfortable truth. You're always available, always replying, always showing up, always ready. You do everything you can to avoid being forgotten. And that is exactly what makes you disposable. This is the paradox most people are too afraid to face, because it hits the most primitive human fear: being left behind. You're afraid that if you don't show up enough, people will forget you. Afraid that if you don't respond fast enough, the opportunity will pass. Afraid that if you're not there when needed, you'll be replaced. So you choose what feels safest. You're always there. But power does not operate on safety. Power operates on scarcity. When you appear too often, you quietly lose weight in other people's eyes. Not because you've become worse, but because you've become too easy to reach. When people know you'll show up the moment they call, they stop holding space for you in their minds. They don't plan around you. They don't prioritize you. They don't value what's already guaranteed. You become obvious. And in this world, anything obvious is treated like a shared utility, used when convenient, discarded when it isn't. Face this brutal fact: people only raise the value of something when they feel they might lose it. No risk, no value. When your presence is guaranteed 100% of the time, you erase the only signal that makes you valuable: scarcity. Picture a chair in a meeting room. If it's always empty and anyone can sit in it, no one sees it as important. Whoever arrives first takes it. No waiting, no tension, no wait. But if there's one chair that's rarely available, and when it is, the room slows down. Eyes turn toward it, waiting to see who will sit and when it will be filled. That chair becomes a position of power, not because it's better, but because it's not always there. That's you. Your value doesn't come from being better. It doesn't come from working harder. It comes from not always being present. Most people can't tolerate withdrawal. It makes them anxious, hollow, like they're losing momentum. What they're actually losing is an illusion. The illusion that constant presence earns loyalty, that instant replies earn priority. The human brain doesn't work that way. It runs on tension. When you're always there, there's no tension. When you can disappear, tension appears. And with tension comes value. That's why busy people are pursued, not because they're truly busy, but because they're hard to access. They force others to wait, adjust, and plan. and anything that requires planning is automatically treated as important. You may hate this. You may find it cruel, but it's real. Machiavelli looked directly at this reality without decorating it. Without apologizing, he understood that power doesn't come from being liked. It comes from not being dismissible. Your problem isn't that you lack value. Your problem is that you're distributing your value too evenly. You attend every meeting. You answer every message. You accept every request. You think you're demonstrating professionalism. In reality, you're training people to believe you have nothing better to do. Listen carefully. The person who is always available is not reliable. They are optionless, and no one truly respects someone with no options. The solution is not to vanish completely. That's the reflex of the weak. The solution is deliberate withdrawal. Create just enough uncertainty for your presence to carry weight. Not to manipulate, but to restore order. You don't need to attend every meeting. You don't need to answer every request immediately. Sometimes you decline without explanation, not out of arrogance, but because you respect your own time and energy. If you continue as you are, always present, always ready, always saying okay, the outcome is predictable. People call you anytime, push you to the end of the line, and quietly downgrade you to a backup plan. But when you change the rhythm, when you start choosing when and where you appear, something uncomfortable happens. People start asking in advance. They start waiting. They start reconsidering. That's when power shifts. People try to control what they can easily reach. When you're always there, you're in their hands. When you show that you can withdraw, that you don't always appear, the balance tilts. The mere ability to be absent is enough to redefine the entire relationship. Machiavelli understood this early. He didn't advise coldness for its own sake. He advised unpredictability, because only the unpredictable forces others to think. And when people are thinking about you, you already have a position. What cannot be lost has no leverage. What can disappear holds control. If you want to raise your value, start here. Not by doing more, but by appearing less. Appear deliberately. Appear where it matters. Appear with cost. Power doesn't arrive when you fight to be seen. It arrives when others begin to fear that they might not see you at all. Reason 3. Your boundaries are your price tag. Before going any further, picture this. You walk into a store with no prices anywhere. No labels. No numbers. No hint of what anything is worth. The seller smiles and says, pleasantly, pay whatever you want. In that moment, respect evaporates. You stop caring about quality. You stop wondering about the work behind it. One assumption locks in immediately. This thing can be pushed down to the lowest possible price. People operate the same way. When you don't set boundaries, you're telling the world you don't have a price tag. And when there's no price tag, society will pay you as little as it can get away with. Now look directly at your life. How many times has your time been taken without permission? How many times have you accepted extra work just to avoid making things awkward? How many times have you nodded along while exhausted, irritated, resentful, because you were afraid of being disliked? You call that kindness. The world calls it usability. Here's the brutal truth. No one crosses your boundaries by accident. They do it because you allow it. Boundaries are not emotions. They are information. They tell people what you accept and what you don't. When that information is vague, Society defaults to the option that benefits it most. And that option almost always takes more from you. The biggest mistake of people who want to be good is that they're afraid to draw lines, afraid of offending, afraid of being excluded, afraid of being labeled difficult. Listen carefully. You are not disrespected because you say no. You are disrespected because you never say no. Accepting everything doesn't make you important. It makes you convenient. And in any power structure, convenience gets discounted. This isn't about attitude. It's about structure. When you don't clearly define who gets access to you, how much, and under what conditions, the default assumption is that you're always available, and when you're always available, you have no leverage. You become an open resource. Anyone can use you. Anyone can step over you. Machiavelli understood this clearly. He wasn't talking about being nicer. He was talking about power, and in the logic of power, boundaries are not requested. They are declared. People don't respect long explanations. They respect clear limits. Every time you over-explain, you put yourself on defense. Every time you apologize for protecting your time and energy, you signal that your boundaries are negotiable, and anything negotiable will be dragged downward. Ask yourself an uncomfortable question. Why do people feel entitled to demand so much from you? Not because they're stronger. Because you've never shown them the cost of demanding. A boundary isn't a wall that pushes people away. It's a price tag placed directly in front of them, stating clearly, this is the minimum cost of access without a price tag. Everything is up for bargaining. Once it appears, those who can't afford it leave on their own. The solution is simple and unforgiving. Set limits without asking permission. Say no without apologizing. Stop without explaining. You don't need speeches. You don't need understanding. One short, cold sentence is enough. No, that doesn't work. I don't do that. Your first reaction will be guilt. Your ego will resist. You'll fear you've damaged a relationship. Look closely. The people who leave because of your boundaries were never there out of respect. They were there because you were cheap. When the boundary appears, they disappear. That's not a loss. That's filtration. If you keep going as you are, the outcome is predictable. You'll be busier, more drained, and worth less. But when you draw boundaries, two types of people reveal themselves quickly. One resists and accuses you of changing. The other quietly adjusts, because they understand you're no longer a free commodity. At a deeper level, this is about control. People without boundaries hand control over to others. People with boundaries keep it. No aggression, no threats, just consistency, and there is no tool more effective than clear, cold, non-negotiable limits. The final truth is this: boundaries don't make you lose people. They only remove those who were there because you were easy to use. The ones who remain stay not because you're pleasant, but because you have value. As Machiavelli made painfully clear, boundaries don't drive people away. They expose those who never respected you in the first place. If you're truly ready to set boundaries, write this down now. My boundaries are not negotiable. And if you can't bring yourself to write that sentence, be honest with yourself. You're still choosing to be used over being respected. Reason 4, you don't need to be rich. You just need to stop looking desperate. Put money aside for a moment. What's dragging your value down isn't your bank balance. It's the energy of scarcity that clings to you every time you enter a game. The rush, The trembling hands, the silent panic of, if this doesn't work, I'm finished. You may never say it out loud, but your behavior says it for you. Loudly, a lot of people tell themselves they're just trying hard. Be honest. That's not effort. That's needed. And the moment you need something, you start accepting terms below your real worth. You agree too quickly. You concede before you're asked. You stamp a clear label on your forehead without realizing it. This person needs the game more than the game needs him. There's a cold rule. Most people refuse to face money. Respect and desire never move toward need. They avoid it. They flow toward the person calm enough to slow down. The one who doesn't beg. The one who doesn't reveal dependence on the outcome. You may not be rich, but if you look desperate, you're cheap. You may not have much, but if you keep your composure, you have value. Go back to 1502. In Romagna, Cesare Borgia entered negotiations with mercenary armies infamous for betrayal at a higher price. Everyone knew they were dangerous. Everyone knew they weren't loyal. But Cesare didn't sit at the table like a man who needed troops to survive. He didn't plead. He didn't persuade. He didn't overpromise. His posture was cold and simple. Cooperate if you want. If not, I'll remove you and move on. No shaking hands. No clinging. No fear of loss. That indifference unsettled them. They couldn't tell whether they held leverage or not. They weren't sure Cesare needed them at any cost. And when the other side isn't sure it has the upper hand, it starts giving ground. They accepted worse terms and showed more loyalty. Not out of morality, but because the balance of power slipped out of their hands. Machiavelli saw this clearly. Power isn't about how much you have. It's about whether you can stand up and leave the table without your hands shaking. Now, look at yourself. In your most recent negotiations, what did you bring into the room? Calm or fear? Choice or scarcity? You can say, I'm fine. But if there's only one option in your head, you're not fine. You're needy. And the moment you need, you hand the advantage to the other side. Don't lie to yourself with the word flexible. Flexibility means you can concede. Scarcity means you must. The world knows the difference, and it prices you accordingly. You don't need to be rich to have value. You just need to stop revealing that you're desperate. Even when you lack resources, you can still keep one decisive thing: the ability to walk away. At least in your mind. When you enter any game thinking, I'll be fine, even if this doesn't happen, the rhythm changes immediately. You slow down. Your decisions harden. The other side starts to hesitate. Most people believe power comes from having more. Machiavelli was sharper than that. Power comes from being able to lose without collapsing. The one who trembles at the risk of loss will always be squeezed. The one who stays composed forces the other side to adjust. The solution isn't pretending to be cold. It's stopping fear from driving your actions. When fear no longer controls you, everything shifts. You don't close immediately. You don't respond instantly. You don't rush to explain yourself. You always keep at least one exit open, even if it exists only in your head. No need to show it. You just need to know it's real. If you keep going as you are rushing, fearing, accepting low terms just to be chosen, the outcome will stay the same. You'll be present without a position, involved without respect. But if you dare to slow down, dare not to plead, dare to let the other side wonder whether you need them at all, the game changes pace. And when the pace changes, power moves. Humans sense weakness fast, and need is the clearest signal of all. When you stop sending it, you don't become a predator, but you stop being prey. Machiavelli's reminder is brutal and precise. It's not the one who has the most who wins, but the one who can lose without shaking. You don't need wealth to hold power. You don't need abundance to keep a position. You just need to stop showing that you need this win to survive. Over the next 7 days, try one concrete rule. Don't close too fast. Don't respond immediately. Don't explain unless you're asked. Each time you feel the urge to rush because you're afraid of losing the opportunity, stop. Stay silent. Observe. Remind yourself that the option to walk away is still yours. Reason 5. Silence. Distance and mystery create attraction. Let's begin this 5th reason with a blunt truth. The weak believe that if they talk enough, they will be understood. If they explain thoroughly, they will be trusted. If they are completely transparent, they will be respected. That belief is exactly what keeps them stuck at the bottom, without ever understanding why. You've seen this in yourself. You explain because you fear being misunderstood. You add more words because you're afraid others might think badly of you. You share your plans because you want recognition. You think you're clarifying your image. In reality, you're exposing yourself before anyone even asks. The more you talk, the easier you are to read. The more you explain, the more your motives leak out. And when you're so transparent that nothing is left unsaid, you lose control over how others perceive you. The human mind is not attracted to what's fully laid out on the table. It doesn't crave what's already finished and packaged. It's drawn to gaps, to unfinished edges, to things that force it to speculate. And every time the mind builds an image on its own, that image is always larger, deeper, and more valuable than anything you could have said out loud. When you say everything, you kill that process. You deny others the chance to elevate you in their minds. You price yourself exactly at what you just presented. No higher, no deeper. People who talk too much comfort themselves by saying, "At least they understand me." The truth is harsher. They understand you too well. And when people understand you too well, they no longer feel caution, no longer feel curiosity, and no longer feel respect. Quiet people don't dominate the conversation. They dominate the weight of it. In any interaction, the person who rushes to fill the silence is the one under pressure. The person who lets silence stand is the one applying pressure. This isn't a communication trick. It's perceptual power. You fear silence because you think you're losing control. In reality, that's the moment you start taking it back. The talkative react. The silent force others to react. In the Florentine court under the Medici family, the most talkative men were often the first to die politically. They displayed loyalty too eagerly, offered advice non-stop, rushed to show which side they were on, and because of that, they became predictable, agréable, disposable. The ones who truly made rulers uneasy were the quiet ones. They never revealed a final position too early. In councils, they stayed silent longer than necessary. When they spoke, they were brief. When questioned, they left gaps. No one was sure which side they were on. No one knew how much they really knew. That ambiguity made them difficult to remove. In power dynamics, uncertainty is always more dangerous than clarity. No one wants to strike when they're not sure whether they're eliminating a pawn or triggering a hidden force. Machiavelli saw this early. He didn't claim that silence is always strength. He argued that strength lies in controlling how much of yourself is known. So let me ask you this. How many times have you devalued yourself just to be understood? How many times have you revealed your entire plan, then wondered why others lost interest? How many times have you explained a decision no one had the right to question, simply because you couldn't tolerate being judged? Each time, you thought you were protecting your image. In reality, you were flattening it, stripping it of depth, leaving nothing that forced others to think. The greatest mistake intelligent people make is believing that absolute clarity earns respect. It doesn't. Respect doesn't come from everything being brightly lit. It comes from a depth that others haven't reached yet. When you leave something unsaid, you leave something for others to guess. And the moment they start guessing about you, you occupy space in their mind. Silence is not avoidance. It's tempo control. Distance is not coldness. It's positioning. Mystery is not deception. It's value retention. The application is simple, and that's exactly why it's uncomfortable. Don't share plans before results exist. Don't explain decisions unless you're challenged. Don't fill silence just because you can't stand it. Let others speak first. Let them speculate. If you keep going the way you are talking too much, explaining too much, using words to soothe your own insecurity, the outcome will stay the same. You'll be heard, but not respected, known, but not valued. But when you hold back, when you let silence do the work, when you speak less but with better timing, the shift becomes obvious. Every word you say starts to carry weight. People always value what they have to complete in their own minds. Leave gaps, and they elevate you. Say everything, and you trap yourself in a small frame. As Machiavelli understood, silence doesn't weaken you. It forces others to raise you in their own perception. If what you've just read makes you uncomfortable, that's a good sign. It means you're used to speaking, to be understood, and that habit is keeping your value below its true level. Try staying silent longer than feels comfortable. Watch what happens when you stop talking to be accepted and start being silent to be respected. If you've made it to the end of this journey, congratulations. You've grasped Machiavelli's core truth: whoever controls perception controls the game. Remember, this being high value is not pretense or vanity. It is a survival strategy. In a world that judges by impression rather than fairness, your greatest risk is not being hated, but being overlooked, dismissed, and replaced without a second thought. Real value is not reflected in a bank balance. It shows in how you walk, how you stay silent, and how you refuse. Do not beg for validation. Do not discount your presence. A high-value person dictates the pace and knows when to walk away. If you're tired of being undervalued, change your position, starting today. Here is your challenge for the next 7 days. Say yes only to what is truly worthy. If you are ready to accept this challenge and reshape how the world perceives you, comment, "I accept the challenge." The difference between the manipulated masses and the few who rule lies in the ability to sacrifice short-term approval for permanent respect. Will you remain a commodity or become an existence that cannot be priced? The work of forging an unbreakable version of yourself has only just begun. If you want colder, sharper, more realistic perspectives, subscribe and turn on notifications. Step into a community of people who dare to wake up and take control of the game. I'll see you at the summit of self-respect.